Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. It's UncleSamsDevil here, and today I'd like to talk to you once again about Dead Matter. But before we get into that, I do want to say that we are doing a giveaway of 2 Dead Matter keys in my Discord this Saturday, so make sure you drop a sub and come join. The link will be in the description. Alright, so a couple days ago, Clean was allowed to stream and showcase much of the gun range and weapons in Dead Matter. That was a big step forward for the community to see so much of what has been kept under wraps up until this point. It was a pretty interesting watch, and it ended up being a very enlightening experience for me. I saw quite a few things that I liked, as well as some things that I didn't like. So first, let's talk about the good of Dead Matter in general. For the stage of development, this is a very feature-rich game, which, if it holds up to be as advertised, will in fact set a new standard for the future of the survival genre. If they do this right, it may just bring us out of the era in which survival games are half-assed sims with barren wasteland maps, mediocre lore and world building, and clunky, inherently flawed mechanics, into a new period in which the developers are forced to innovate to compete in the genre. Dead Matter truthfully has more potential than any other survival game in the last 5 years. Quantum Integrity Software has set the bar extremely high, and if they can live up to the promises they've made and then smooth out the edges of the mechanics they've shown without delaying the game for several years, they will, despite a few shortcomings they are bound to have in their hands a strong foundation for the creation of a truly revolutionary title. This is what I have believed about Dead Matter for some time. And after seeing the gun range showcase and actually watching a player move around the world in an unscripted manner, it really sort of brought together some of the pieces of that dream into a reality that I can somewhat grasp onto. Overall, the gun range showcase was phenomenal. Many of the animations for weapons impressed me as someone who is really picky about guns. They were simply doing a good job creating a feeling that the weapons actually have a weight to them. The weapon sounds were also nice and crisp. With the understanding that everything is likely a work in progress, I'm going to completely disregard unfinished animations, as that is to be expected, but at the same time say that a few of the weapons almost looked plastic, maybe partially because they were too clean. The aesthetic seemed a bit off. It will be interesting to see if the visual state of the weapons change over time. The gore also seemed extremely basic and a bit glitchy, but it's also a little impressive that the gore system has been implemented at all this early on. Generally, my feelings about the gun range showcase are that it was a success. We finally got a good look at some of the cornerstone mechanics, and it does look good. I really do think that these devs are capable of achieving something great here. They've already promised us more features than any other game in the genre provides. All they need to do is follow through, and development-wise, I think that is a possibility. However, the feeling currently being evoked, the sense that we may finally receive a groundbreaking survival game, is not new. It has become the norm for games to be overhyped and for developers to make promises that they can't keep, and then fail to deliver again and again. As much as I hate to admit it, it would be ignorant to not prepare for the same experience here and in this case, especially after its extensive history of delays. I am by no means claiming that Dead Matter will fail, but it is certainly better to be prepared for the worst than for the worst to come and absolutely topple expectations of greatness. I look forward to seeing if these are the devs that will finally deliver a game that is really worth playing in this niche, because up to this point, many have tried, and we have a long list of failures. All of this being said, and acknowledging the great potential of Dead Matter, maintaining community relations is also typically very vital in developing games. Is it possible to be known as absolute pricks and still develop a great game that has lots of players? Absolutely, but since community involvement is also important in game development, it's quite rare. good devs are able to strike a balance between knowing what they want to create and listening to the community's ideas of what the game should be. It's actually a very tough line to walk, and unfortunately, though they can come across nicely on the surface, this is a weak point for the guys over at Quantum Integrity Software. I'm going to show some examples of this, and to prevent people from harassing them, as well as any kind of possible legal issues, their names will be redacted. If you want more proof, feel free to come join my Discord anytime, and I would be more than happy to provide it. So, down the line, when it comes to developing the game further, hopefully they will refrain from communicating with the community in ways such as this. Or this. Imagine if they didn't talk down to people, but instead maintained rules in a respectable and professional manner. Maybe if they weren't so eager to bury their heads in the sand at any sign of criticism. Then maybe, just maybe, these people that have been chosen to represent Dead Matter would get the respect of being talked to like royalty that they somehow think they deserve. Hell, maybe the sit down, shut up, obey us, and don't you freaking dare criticize us mentality that their moderators have chosen to rule their little kingdom by should subside. Maybe in the future you won't see the unprecedented move of developers themselves responding to criticism about them and their mods by joining a community to accuse its members of transphobia. If they can manage that, if they can treat other people with respect, if they can learn that they aren't lords of which the community should bow down to and worship their feet, I think we can possibly build a great game together. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, that's going to be all for me for this one. If you liked this video, make sure you drop a like and subscribe to stay updated on future videos. It helps me out and I really do appreciate it. And I'll see you guys in the next one.